For me, it was particularly challenging because it was one of the first times I really felt like a doctor. And I had patients looking at me and expecting that I could meet their challenge, I could solve their problems. And that for me really, forced me to step up my game. And so when I talked to my parents back home, I filled with a lot of hope. To me, it's exciting because I was like, Mom, Dad, for the first time I feel like I'm a doctor. Like I'm actually really filling these shoes. And maybe all these years I've had imposter syndrome, but it was really nice to see rubber meet the road and actually see myself meeting that challenge.
Yeah, these 2 months I've definitely felt more confident about my skills. There are a ton of things I need to learn, but I also felt very inspired by a lot of the physicians I've met here, and the amount of knowledge they have has been incredibly humbling to me. And so it taught me how much I don't know, but actually inspired me to keep learning. So I've been very happy about the learning curve here.
One story comes to mind where there was a patient who came in who needed to be sedated and intubated so that a breathing tube was put in so that we could breathe for this patient. And because there was no ICU bed available, this patient had to stay in the emergency department for a long period of time. And there are no ventilators in the emergency department. Because physicians are short-staffed, as well as nurses and medical students, the staff actually trained the family members about how to artificially ventilate these patients and how to do this in a safe way. So I observed the family taking turns ventilating this patient for several hours.
I think we in Israel or United States try to give a little bit more time and prioritize situations, but here, because they don't have it, they don't have a monitor for each woman in labor. Here, if there is even the most smaller sign of something that it's not going to the right direction, they go right away for C-sections, for example. It's A or B. They don't have the means or the technology to kind of play around and prioritize situations.
When we're out in the community health centers, we did the community health last week, so every day was a different aspect. We had a day of ophthalmology, a day of geriatrics, a mother and child health day, and then just a general community health day.
You go there and then have people from the villages come. They pay a very small fee to see the doctor. One doctor examines them and they give them a prescription most often. They pay a small fee for their pills and they're on their way home.
We got to see people coming in from different villages around the centers. Also got explained to by the doctors, what was going on, how far away some of these people are coming from, explaining why some of the time some patients don't actually come to the villages, either through transportation problems or they don't feel comfortable coming to these community health centers. So the doctor explained that some other days they go out to different villages to administer whatever healthcare that they can out there.
In terms of procedures, there aren't many procedures that I've seen here that I haven't seen elsewhere. However, the big difference is the ability to do these procedures with far fewer resources and technology that we're used to having. Really, it's impressive how much they can do with the tools that they have. And they're very humble about it around here. They really say, we do the best we can, but the best they can do is really quite impressive sometimes.
You have such a massive volume of patients that sure, you see a lot of interesting cases, abnormal presentations of this and this illness, just from the sheer volume that you're seeing. But I think primarily, what you take away from this is just, how they run their healthcare system here. I think that's always something, good to have an understanding about.
What comes to mind is on our very last day of clinic, a patient come in. It was a construction worker who had fallen 3 stories and landed on his back. Thankfully, he was wearing a helmet.
I think all of us were quite worried that he might have either a pneumothorax or a hemothorax due to a broken rib or potentially a flailed chest.
Once we assessed that he wasn't in any huge emergency that we wanted to take care of at that exact moment, we wanted to get an x-ray.
We didn't have a functional x-ray machine.
The machine was broken, the tech was out. There was simply no way we were going to get that test done at that moment. So we looked at what we had, and we had an echo machine in the obstetrics wing.
So We reached out to people in Israel, and thankfully, Yuval, who had trained us in emergency medicine first year, answered, and we Skyped.
We would take photos of the location of the probe and then photos of the echo itself to show him what we were doing, and it really went quite smoothly. I was impressed with how much we were able to see and to assess.
And also the community of MSIH, at least for me, made it really possible. I felt extremely comfortable calling them, being like, hey, we're not sure, we have this patient. And nobody was judgmental and everybody was extremely kind. So that was a great experience.